Byte-Sized Tech, where we like to take these sort of casual, fun conversations and kind of dig into what's happening with technology and gadgets and all that good stuff. And today is no exception. We're going to be looking at AI, but not just like, oh, AI is cool. We're going to be going a little deeper. What's been really fascinating to me lately is how quickly things are changing.
Absolutely.
Like just in the past week alone, there have been so many new things popping up. And I'm really excited to kind of dig in with you today and kind of see, what does this all mean?
Yeah. Well, you've sent me some really fascinating stuff this week, and it does feel like every time we do one of these deep dives, there's a whole new set of features and capabilities that have emerged, and things are moving so fast.
Right.
So yeah, let's see if we can make sense of it all.
Yeah, let's break it down. So first off, it feels like all the big players, your Claudes, your OpenAIs, your Geminis, they're all kind of copying each other. It's like they're all looking at each other's homework and saying, oh, I need that feature too.
Yeah, it's that feature parity thing, isn't it? It's very apparent. Like even just this past week, Claude launched their web search. Finally. I mean, it's been a while since they've been talking about it, but it's only for paid users right now in the US. And I think one of the interesting things, though, is they're really focusing on the citations.
Oh, interesting.
Being able to see where the information's coming from. And Ethan Mollick, who's a professor at Wharton who does a lot of AI stuff, he actually said, you know what, this is really helpful because it gives you more transparency. But at the same time, he's like, we still have that fundamental problem of, can AI really understand and represent information correctly?
Right. So it's kind of like, okay, we see where you got it from, but are you actually using it correctly?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not just about the sourcing. It's about the interpretation.
Right.
Now, speaking of cool new things, OpenAI, they've been busy, haven't they?
Oh, my goodness.
They got these new speech-to-text models that are supposed to be even better than Whisper, which was already amazing.
Yeah.
But then there's this text-to-speech thing.
Yeah.
They're calling it a vibe.
Oh, yeah. The vibe.
Which is such a weird word, but it kind of makes sense because they're talking about being able to control the voice, the tone, the mannerisms, the pronunciation, even how fast or slow it talks.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable, the level of detail that you can...
It's crazy. Like, imagine the possibilities for, podcasts, audiobooks, you name it.
Absolutely. Content creators, especially. I mean, that's a whole other game changer. And I think the other thing that's really fascinating about this is the pricing. I mean, they're significantly undercutting 11 Labs, which has been the big player, with the licensed voices.
Right. And, I mean, 11 Labs is great, but it can be expensive.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking like $1,000 or more a year, depending on your usage, whereas OpenAI is talking about a couple cents per minute.
So it's a huge difference. I mean, this could really open things up for smaller creators.
Right, yeah.
People who couldn't necessarily afford that high-end stuff before.
Yeah.
And they have this demo. It's called OpenAI.fm, where you can actually play around with the different voices.
You got to check it out. It's really impressive what you can do with it.
I know. I was messing around with it earlier, and it's like, whoa, this is the future right here. But it also makes you think, right, like, why are they doing this? Why are they giving us all this control and making it so affordable?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, the cynical part of me thinks it's all about lock-in, like as the cost of running AI comes down and we're hearing that those costs are dropping, like 900 times a year for some tasks.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. And NVIDIA is saying it could drop another 97% on top of that. So at that point, how do these companies make money? They need you hooked on their AI with all the cool features that nobody else has, right?
Right. Yeah. It's all about that platform, that ecosystem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just OpenAI. Gemini is doing the same thing with their new Canvas feature. They're basically giving you this interactive workspace where you can write and code, especially for side projects. I mean, it sounds kind of like what ChatGPT already does, but with more of a visual hands-on feel.
Yeah, and that echoes back to Claude's artifacts thing too, right? Where you can sort of have these different tools and outputs.
Right, it's like everyone's borrowing from everyone else.
It is. You almost wonder, like, when is Claude going to come out with their version of deep research, which is OpenAI's sort of like research assistant thing?
It's almost comical. Like, are we just going to keep seeing this back and forth where everyone's just copying each other?
Well, it does make you wonder, like, are there fundamental limitations in AI research right now that are leading to this sort of feature-level competition? Like, they've all reached a certain point,
Right.
and now it's about, like, how do we differentiate ourselves?
Right. How do we make ours stand out?
Exactly.
And I think that goes back to what we were saying about the cost of AI coming down. Like, if these companies can't charge us an arm and a leg for the basic AI, they need to find other ways to make money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that means locking us into their platform.
Mm-hmm. And, that's why they're all raising so much money right now, too, right? Like, they need to be able to invest in all these features and keep ahead of the curve.
Speaking of money, let's talk about the business side of things. Because, wow, there's some big numbers flying around.
Oh, yeah.
Like Perplexity AI, they're potentially raising $1 billion at an $18 billion valuation.
Yeah.
And they're already making $100 million a year in recurring revenue.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. And their valuation has basically doubled.
It's insane. Like, what are they doing that's making investors so excited? Maybe it's their focus on search,
Yeah.
Like, they're really trying to disrupt that whole space.
Yeah, maybe. And then you have CoreWeave, the AI cloud provider.
Oh, yeah, them.
They're starting their IPO roadshow. They're trying to raise $2.7 billion at a $32 billion valuation. And remember, that's connected to OpenAI taking over that $12 billion contract from Microsoft.
Right. So basically, all the money that Microsoft was giving to OpenAI is now going to CoreWeave.
Essentially, yeah.
For their infrastructure.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling the amount of money that's flowing into this space.
And it's not just about the big AI labs either. I saw that the AI consulting market is expected to grow like tenfold in the next 10 years.
Yeah. It's going from like almost $7 billion to almost $55 billion by 2032. That's a huge jump.
It's crazy. And there are already resources popping up to help people get into this field, like the AI consultancy project.
Yeah, there's a real need for people who can help businesses figure out how to use AI effectively.
It's like everyone's trying to get a piece of the AI pie in one way or another.
Right.
And speaking of trying to get a piece of the pie, there was that lawsuit against Apple.
Oh, yeah, the Apple Intelligence thing.
Right. It seems like they got a little ahead of themselves with the hype.
Yeah, it sounds like they were advertising something that didn't really exist yet.
But it just shows you how much expectation there is around AI right now.
Yeah.
Like everyone's expecting these big leaps forward, and they're not always happening.
Right.
But, all this excitement and progress, we can't forget about the potential downsides. And that story about the guy in Norway, that was really disturbing.
Oh, yeah. That was a tough one to read.
Like ChatGPT falsely accused him of killing his kids.
And serving time in prison? I mean, that's just awful.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
And it just shows you how these AI models, they can sound really convincing.
Yeah.
But they can also just make stuff up.
And that's the danger. Right.
Exactly. And it can have real-world consequences. I mean, thankfully, in this case, it sounds like the guy's okay, but it could have been so much worse.
Yeah, it could have been devastating.
And he's actually filed a complaint with the Norwegian Data Protection Authority and is demanding a fine against OpenAI. So, hopefully that will at least bring some attention to the issue.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, this is a real wake-up call, I think, for everyone involved in AI.
Absolutely. On a more positive note, it seems like China's trying to get ahead of this problem.
Oh, yeah, with the new regulations?
Yeah. Starting in September, they're requiring all AI-generated content, text, images, videos, everything to be clearly labeled.
Yeah, which makes sense, right?
It does. I mean, you should know if you're looking at something created by a human or by an AI.
Transparency is key.
It's all about transparency. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but it feels like we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. It's just a constant stream of new stuff.
It's amazing how much is happening in the AI world right now.
It is. I mean, new capabilities, new companies, new investments, new challenges.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's scary. It's everything all at once.
And it's all happening so fast.
I know. Like, I feel like we're just trying to keep up.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like staying informed, asking questions, understanding what's going on, it's more important now than ever.
Absolutely. Because this isn't just about tech anymore, it's about our lives.
It is. It's shaping the world around us.
Well said. Well, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today.
I think so too.
This whole AI thing, it's a wild ride.
It is, and it's only going to get wilder.
So buckle up, everybody.
Yeah, hold on tight.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, you know what to do. Like, comment, share.
Subscribe.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of tech.
See you then.
Bye.